Hey, it's Arjun, CEO of Doola, and in today's video, I'm going to break down how to apply for an EIN, also known as an employer identification number. Let's dive in. Applying for an employer identification number, also known as an EIN, is a free service offered by the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service. You should absolutely beware of websites on the internet that charge for this free service. That being said, there are companies that do charge for this service, like Doola, that can help you focus on what you do best while Doola handles the rest. So I'm going to break down when you should consider doing this on your own, or if you should outsource it or hire a company like Doola to help you get your EIN. But first, let's get into the details in terms of the specific ways that you can apply for an EIN. All EIN applications, whether you apply via mail, fax, or electronically, must disclose the name and the taxpayer identification number, the SSN, the ITIN, or the EIN, of the true principal officer, general partner, grantor, owner, or truster of the business. This individual or entity, which the IRS calls the responsible party, controls, manages, or directs the applicant entity and the disposition of its funds and assets. Unless the applicant is a government entity, the responsible party must be an individual, i.e. a natural person, not an entity. Method number one is to apply online. The Internet EIN application is the preferred method for customers to apply and to obtain an EIN. Once the application is completed, the information is then validated during the online session, and an EIN is issued immediately. However, the online application process is available for all entities whose principal business, office, or agency, or legal residence in the case of an individual, is located in the United States or U.S. territories. One other important note here, you need to have a U.S. Social Security number in order to apply for your EIN online. That's a very important thing to know. Now, if you don't have a U.S. Social Security number, let's go into the second method in terms of how you can apply for an EIN. The second way to get your EIN is by applying via fax. Taxpayers can fax completed Form SS4, and Form SS4 means application for EIN. You can fax this application to the appropriate fax number, and you can see this on the IRS's website. And after you ensure that Form SS4 contains all of the required information, the IRS will review this information and then process and determine if you can receive an EIN. If it is determined that the entity needs a new EIN, one will be assigned using the appropriate procedures for the entity type. If the taxpayer's fax number is provided, a fax will be sent back with the EIN within 4 business days. Now, I will add, the 4 business days timeline, which comes directly from the IRS's website, which you can check out, is during normal processing times. If there are any delays, such as global pandemics like COVID, or holidays, or busy seasons, there absolutely can be delayed processing times for EINs received via fax. At Doola, we've seen 2, 4, sometimes even upwards of 8 weeks. So please be patient if you are getting your EIN via fax, and eventually the IRS will fax it back. The next way to apply for an EIN is by applying by mail. The processing time frame for an EIN application received by mail is 4 weeks, and that 4-week timeline again comes directly from the IRS's website. Ensure that Form SS4 contains all of the required information needed. If it is determined that the entity needs a new EIN, one will be assigned using the appropriate procedures for the entity type, and it will then be mailed to the taxpayer. You can find out where to mail Form SS4 to on the IRS's website page. The last method is you can apply by telephone, and this is for international applicants. International applicants may call 267-941-1099, which is not a toll-free number, between 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday, in order to obtain their EIN. The person making the call must be authorized to receive the EIN and answer questions concerning Form SS4, which again is the application for employer identification number. You can complete the third-party designee section only if you want to authorize the named individual to receive the entity's EIN and answer questions about the completion of Form SS4. Again, Form SS4 stands for application for EIN. The designee's authority terminates at the time the EIN is assigned and released to the designee. You must complete the signature area for the authorization to be valid in order to have a third-party designee. Now, there's another piece of important information I'd like to share. Daily limitation of an employer identification number is something that you need to know. As of May 21st, 2012, to ensure fair and equitable treatment for all taxpayers, the Internal Revenue Service decided to limit employer identification number, or EIN, issuance issuance to one responsible party per day. This limitation is applicable to all requests for EINs, whether online or by fax or mail. Now, the IRS said they apologize for any inconvenience this may cause, but they also shared why they did it, to provide a level playing ground or equal opportunity for everyone to apply for and receive an EIN. Another note on responsible parties. In order to identify the correct individuals and entities applying for EINs, language changes have been made to the EIN process. You can check out the responsible parties and nominees section of the IRS's website to learn more about these important changes before applying for an EIN. And we're going to drop the link directly to the IRS's website down below. Another thing I'd like to clarify is third-party authorization. The third-party designee section of Form SS4, which again is the application for EIN, must be completed at the bottom of Form SS4. Form SS4 must also be signed by the taxpayer for the third-party designee authorization to be valid. The Form SS4 must then be mailed or faxed to the appropriate service center, and you can get that up-to-date address on the IRS's website. The third-party designee's authority extends to newly assigned EINs, and it terminates at the time the EIN is assigned and released to the designee. Typically, you have a third-party designee if you're hiring a company like Doola to help you get your EIN. Doola would then serve as the third-party designee. They would handle this process for you, whether it's applying online or faxing Form SS4 to the IRS, and we fax versus mail because it's faster. And then, once the EIN is actually designated and assigned, we lose our ability to be the third-party designee as you have now received your EIN. One other note I'd like to add on home care service recipients. If you are a home care service recipient who has a previously assigned EIN either as a sole proprietor or as a household employer, do not apply for a new EIN. Use the EIN previously provided. If you cannot locate your EIN for any reason, follow the instructions on the Lost or Misplaced Your EIN webpage, which you can find on the IRS's website. The last thing I'd like to say is that you can absolutely DIY for this process, but you should think as a business owner, is it the best use of your time? If you make a typo when applying online, you might get the wrong EIN. If you fill out Form SS4 incorrectly and you fax it to the IRS and you wait 4 days, 4 weeks, 8 weeks to get that fax back and it turns out the IRS says this was wrong, you are wasting valuable time that you could have been spending building your business. And instead, if you hired a professional like Doola, who has helped thousands of customers around the world get their EIN, whether you're a US resident with a social or a non-US resident without a social, oftentimes that can help you focus on what you do best while Doola handles the rest. If you have any questions or would actually like help in terms of getting your EIN, check out doola.com, where we can not only help you get your EIN, but we'll form your LLC or C Corp in all 50 states. We'll get your EIN for you, whether we apply online or we fax Form SS4 to the IRS, and we'll guide you in navigating how to find and open a US business bank account so that you can start getting paid in US dollars from anywhere in the world. That's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed this video. Once again, you can always check out the direct webpage from the IRS on how to apply an EIN, and we'll drop that link down below. And if you have any questions on EINs or forming companies or business banking, do not hesitate to reach out. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.